You're not going to like this. Food shortages are coming faster than anyone expected. Major distributors are already reporting delays on basic staples like rice, canned meats, and even nuts and seeds. And once the panic buying starts again, these shelves won't stay full for long. If you think you'll just grab it later, think again. Some of these items are already disappearing in certain regions. Today, I'll show you 8 food items you need to stock up on before it's too late. Number 6 is one you'll regret skipping when the power goes out or trucks stop delivering. Let's get into it. Number 1, dry beans and lentils, the silent survivors of the food crisis. If you think dry beans and lentils are boring pantry fillers, think again. These little powerhouses might just be the most underrated survival foods on the planet, and right now, they're quietly slipping off store shelves faster than most people realize. Here's the deal. In 2025, we're seeing global demand for lentils and dry beans skyrocket. India, the world's largest importer of pulses, is facing crop shortfalls and has already ramped up imports. That creates a ripple effect globally, especially here in the US, where supply is tighter and prices are ticking upward. In fact, the USDA recently forecasted lower domestic pulse yields this year, largely due to inconsistent weather patterns across growing regions. Translation? Prices are going up, and supply might not keep up with demand. But what makes them so critical for preppers like us? Well, for starters, they last up to 3 years when stored properly in a cool, dry place. Some people even vacuum seal them or use oxygen absorbers to stretch that even longer. Nutritionally, they punch way above their weight, high in protein, loaded with fiber, and packed with slow-burning carbs. Exactly what you need in a survival situation. They're also incredibly versatile. You can make hearty stews, thick soups, spreads, or even homemade veggie burgers. And here's a little prepper trick. Sprouting lentils or mung beans gives you fresh, crunchy greens with no soil, no sun, and no garden. Just a jar, some water, and a few days. That's fresh nutrition during a blackout, folks. And let's not forget the economics. As inflation creeps higher, dry beans and lentils remain one of the cheapest forms of protein on the planet. But even that's changing. Earlier this year, several warehouse clubs and bulk suppliers reported temporary out-of-stocks due to higher than normal demand. It's not panic level yet, but it's a warning sign. So while everyone else is fighting over the last can of soup or overpriced meat, you could have a pantry full of shelf-stable, affordable, high-protein staples. Stock up now, because these quiet essentials won't stay cheap forever. And trust me, when the power's out and you're heating lentil stew over a camp stove, you'll be glad you didn't wait. Number 2, rice and whole grains. When you think about survival food, most people imagine flashy freeze-dried meals or vacuum-sealed emergency kits. But here's the truth. The quiet, humble bag of rice might just be the most powerful weapon in your pantry. And right now, it's under threat. Across the globe, rice prices are spiking in ways we haven't seen in over a decade. In Japan, prices have surged more than 80% year over year, forcing the government to step in and release over 200,000 tons of rice from its emergency reserves, just to keep store shelves stocked and calm the public. That's not just a local problem. It's a flashing red light for what's coming next. In Iran, it's even worse. Food inflation is above 70%, and rice, one of the country's core staples, has nearly doubled in price. Imagine watching your food bill double in real time, knowing you could have stocked up weeks ago. If you're in the US or Canada thinking you're safe, think again. Global shortages don't respect borders, and most major rice-producing countries are tightening exports to protect their own supply. But here's the good news. Rice stores incredibly well. If you grab white rice and store it properly, in airtight containers, in a cool, dry place, it can last up to 30 years. That's 3 decades of food security for a few bucks a bag. Brown rice, while packed with nutrients, has a shorter shelf life, usually around 6 months to a year, because of the healthy oils in the grain. But you can stretch that by keeping it refrigerated or vacuum sealed. And don't stop at rice. Whole grains like oats, barley, bulgur, and quinoa offer great nutritional variety and keep you from getting bored if things really get tight. Most of these grains will last several years if sealed from oxygen and moisture. Quinoa, for example, is a complete protein, which means it's a great meat alternative when options are limited. What makes grains so powerful isn't just how long they last, it's how versatile and filling they are. They're the foundation for endless meals, soups, stews, stir-fries, breakfast bowls, you name it. You can feed a family of 4 for days on just a few cups of cooked grains, and they provide that full stomach feeling that's so important in high-stress situations. Here's the real takeaway. The window to stock up is open, but it's closing fast. You don't need to hoard or panic buy, but adding a few extra bags of rice or oats to your next grocery run could be one of the smartest moves you make all year. Because when prices jump or supplies run thin, you'll be ahead of the curve, calmly pulling from your pantry while others scramble. Number 3, canned meats. Let's talk about canned meats and why you need to grab them now. Just last month, major meat processors announced price hikes of up to 15% coming this summer. That can of tuna that costs $1.29 today, it'll be nearly $1.50 in just a few months. And guys, this isn't just some random prediction. This comes directly from quarterly earnings calls where companies like Hormel and Tyson literally told their investors to expect these price increases. But price isn't even the biggest concern. A recent industry report showed that aluminum shortages are creating a perfect storm for canned goods. One major canning facility in the Midwest actually shut down last quarter, putting even more pressure on the supply chain. Remember during the pandemic when toilet paper disappeared overnight? The same thing could happen with canned meats, but this time with much less warning. Think about it. Canned chicken, tuna, Spam, and corned beef give you ready-to-eat protein that stays good for 3-5 years. No refrigeration, no cooking needed. When the power goes out or you're in a pinch, just pop open a can and you've got a meal. I actually experienced this firsthand during that massive storm last year when we lost power for 3 days. Those cans of tuna and chicken became absolute lifesavers. I talked to Sarah, a supply chain analyst, last week, and she told me something shocking. Some major retailers are already limiting bulk purchases of certain canned meats. They're not advertising it, but the limits are there. She mentioned that one particular national chain has coded their registers to flag purchases over 12 cans. Crazy, right? The public isn't being told about these moves, but insiders are seeing the writing on the wall. Did you know that canned salmon is actually one of the most nutritionally dense options available? It contains nearly all the same omega-3 benefits as fresh salmon, but costs about 1/3 of the price. And it'll stay good in your pantry until 2028. That's incredible when you think about it. Another option people overlook is canned sardines. They're packed with calcium and healthy fats, plus they're still relatively cheap compared to other protein sources. My personal favorite is canned chicken breast. It's versatile. Throw it in pasta, make a quick chicken salad, or eat it straight from the can if you need to. And unlike fresh chicken that spoils in days, these cans will be good well into 2027. I've started keeping at least 24 cans in my pantry at all times, rotating through them for quick lunches. Not only is it saving me money now, but I'm essentially locking in today's prices before the increases hit. Don't wait on this one, folks. Every pantry should have at least 20-30 cans of various meats. Your future self will thank you when you're paying today's prices for protein that others will be paying a premium for later this year. And here's a pro tip. Check discount stores like Aldi or grocery outlets. They often get overstock of these items and sell them for dollars less than regular supermarkets. I just scored canned chicken for $1.79 instead of the $2.99 at my regular store. Those kinds of savings add up fast when you're stocking up. Number 4, cooking oils. Let's talk about cooking oils, something most of us use every single day without thinking twice. But here's the shocking truth. Global cooking oil prices have surged over 40% in recent months, with some regions seeing even higher spikes. I was at the grocery store last week and nearly dropped my basket when I saw that a simple bottle of olive oil now costs almost double what it did a year ago. This isn't just a temporary blip. It's becoming our new reality. Remember last year when that massive sunflower oil shortage hit after Ukraine's exports were disrupted? Well, guess what? It's happening again, but this time with multiple oil types. Indonesia, the world's largest palm oil producer, has been hit with devastating floods affecting nearly 30% of their plantations. Meanwhile, soybean oil production is struggling with both drought conditions and increased demand for biofuels. It's literally a perfect storm of supply problems hitting all at once. Just last week, I spoke with a grocery store manager who told me they've already started limiting cooking oil purchases in some locations. People don't realize how fragile the supply chain really is, he said. Once the general public catches on to shortages, panic buying makes everything worse overnight. He showed me their stock room, normally filled with cooking oil pallets, now down to just a few boxes. This isn't some far-off problem. It's happening right in our communities right now. Climate change is hitting olive oil especially hard. Mediterranean regions face the worst drought in 1,200 years, with olive yields down nearly 50% in some areas. One Spanish producer told industry reporters, "In 30 years of farming, I've never seen conditions this bad." The Italian olive harvest this year was called catastrophic by industry insiders, with some historic groves producing almost no fruit. These aren't just bad business years, these are generational olive trees potentially dying off forever. But here's why you need to act now. Cooking oils aren't just facing supply issues, they're also facing packaging problems. The aluminum and plastic shortages mean fewer bottles are being produced, creating a bottleneck in distribution. Plus, transportation costs have increased over 35% globally, adding even more to the final price. Every step of the supply chain is under pressure, and unfortunately, we're the ones who'll feel it most at checkout. So, what should you stock up on? Focus on versatile oils with longer shelf lives. Extra virgin olive oil lasts 1-2 years unopened and offers incredible health benefits from its polyphenols and antioxidants. Coconut oil is remarkably stable for up to 5 years due to its saturated fat content. It's also incredibly versatile for both cooking and non-cooking uses. Avocado oil has become my personal favorite with its high smoke point and 1-2 year shelf life if stored properly. And don't overlook good old-fashioned lard or tallow. Our grandparents used these shelf-stable animal fats for a reason. Store your oils in a cool, dark place. Heat and light are the enemies here. Every 10 degrees Fahrenheit increase in storage temperature can cut an oil's shelf life in half. And here's a little-known tip. Transfer some oil to smaller containers as you use it. Every time you open the original bottle, you expose it to oxygen, which speeds up rancidity. I learned this the hard way after ruining a huge bottle of expensive olive oil. Now I keep a week's worth in a small dispenser and the rest sealed tight in the pantry. The experts at the North American Olive Oil Association recommend freezing olive oil in ice cube trays for portion-sized cooking that can extend shelf life by months. That's a game changer most people miss. You can also add a few drops of vitamin E oil to your cooking oils as a natural preservative. It's something food manufacturers do, but most home cooks don't know about. Don't wait until prices jump another 20%, which analysts predict could happen by next quarter. I've started buying one extra bottle every shopping trip, slowly building my supply without breaking the bank all at once. Grabbing oils when you see them on sale makes even more sense now. Remember, this isn't about hoarding. It's about smart preparation for what's clearly coming. Your future self will thank you when you're still cooking delicious meals, while others are struggling with shortages and insane prices. Honey and maple syrup. Number 5 on our list might surprise you, honey and maple syrup. But listen to this. Pure honey found in ancient Egyptian tombs, over 3,000 years old, was still perfectly edible when discovered. That's right. Honey literally doesn't expire. It's like nature's immortal food, sitting there in your pantry, laughing at all those pathetic expiration dates on everything else. Here's the shocking part. Honey production dropped 14% last year alone. And this isn't just a random blip. Beekeepers across the country are fighting a losing battle against colony collapse disorder, with many losing up to 40% of their hives during winter months. I talked to a local beekeeper last week who told me he's never seen conditions this bad in his 30 years of keeping bees. A recent study from Cornell University found that climate change is completely disrupting bee foraging patterns, with flowering seasons becoming increasingly unpredictable. The bees literally don't know when to collect nectar anymore because the plants are blooming at weird times. And maple syrup? Oh boy, the situation isn't any better. The maple tapping season has shortened by nearly 2 weeks compared to 50 years ago. Vermont producers, who make about half of all U.S. maple syrup, reported their worst season in decades this past year. Why? Temperatures are too warm in winter, then suddenly fluctuate in early spring, confusing the trees and reducing sap flow. One producer told me they're actually considering moving their operations further north as Vermont's climate becomes less suitable for maple production. That's insane to think about. What's happening to prices should make everyone sit up and pay attention. Premium raw honey has jumped from about $8 to nearly $15 per jar in many areas, almost double. And authentic maple syrup? I nearly dropped a bottle at the store yesterday when I saw the price tag. Expect to pay 30% more this year than last. And industry insiders predict another 15 to 20% jump before year's end. Remember when maple syrup was a normal thing people could afford? Those days are disappearing fast. But here's why you need these items beyond their obvious sweetness. Honey has incredible natural antibacterial properties. I actually use it on minor cuts and burns instead of neosporin sometimes. My grandmother swore by this trick, and science has proven she was right all along. It's also amazing for soothing sore throats and coughs. Way better than those overpriced cough syrups filled with who knows what. And maple syrup isn't just delicious. It contains minerals like zinc, manganese, and potassium that white sugar simply doesn't have. We're talking about 24 different antioxidants here. My nutritionist calls it a functional sweetener because it actually provides health benefits while satisfying your sweet tooth. I started buying an extra bottle of each whenever I shop. Nothing crazy or hoarding-like, just building up my supply gradually. Store them in a cool, dark place, and they'll literally outlast everything else in your pantry. In fact, they'll probably outlast your house. When the day comes that sugar hits $10 a bag, and trust me, that day is coming sooner than you think, you'll be sitting pretty with your liquid gold reserves. Your morning coffee, baking projects, and sweet cravings won't have to suffer while everyone else is paying through the nose for basic sweeteners. Trust me, your future self will high-five you for this one. Number 6. Nuts and seeds. Let me tell you something shocking about nuts and seeds. Last month, almond prices jumped nearly 15% after California, which produces 80% of the world's supply, reported their worst drought damage in decades. This isn't just a blip on the radar. We're talking about a fundamental shift in the availability of one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. I've been tracking these price changes weekly, and the trend is honestly frightening. Listen, nuts and seeds aren't just snacks, they're survival powerhouses. A handful of walnuts packs more omega-3s than many fish servings. Chia seeds can absorb 10 times their weight in water, keeping you hydrated longer in emergencies. What most people don't realize is that just a quarter cup of sunflower seeds contains more vitamin E than 3 tablespoons of olive oil, at a fraction of the price and with a much longer shelf life. This makes them absolute gold for your emergency food supply. I talked to a food supply expert last week who told me something that sent chills down my spine. He said, "The combination of climate change, water shortages, and increased global demand means nuts and seeds will be among the first whole foods to become luxury items." And he's not exaggerating. The Turkish hazelnut harvest, which supplies 70% of the world's hazelnuts, was down 30% this year due to late frosts. These climate disruptions are becoming the new normal, not the exception. Store them right, and most nuts will last 12 months at room temperature. But here's the hack most people miss. Vacuum seal them and freeze them, and you're looking at 3 years of shelf life. I started doing this last year, and my nuts still taste as fresh as the day I bought them. Pro tip: I learned from a prepper with 15 years of experience. Add an oxygen absorber to your sealed containers to extend shelf life even further. The difference in preservation quality is night and day. What's really concerning industry insiders right now? Brazil's recent export restrictions on Brazil nuts after unprecedented Amazon fires. Prices have already doubled, and they're not coming back down. The nutritional profile of Brazil nuts is practically impossible to replace. Each nut contains more than 100% of your daily selenium needs, a mineral crucial for immune function and thyroid health. When these become scarce, there's simply no equivalent alternative. Don't just grab random nuts either. Prioritize these nutrition bombs: walnuts for omega-3s, almonds for calcium and vitamin E, and pumpkin seeds for magnesium and zinc, critical minerals most Americans are already deficient in. Recent research from Cornell University found that people who consume just 1.5 ounces of mixed nuts daily reduce their risk of chronic disease by 25%. That's better protection than many medications, and in a form your body can actually use efficiently. Here's what's happening right now. Big food companies are quietly buying up massive nut reserves. Just last month, one major corporation purchased 3 years' worth of pistachio supplies. They know what's coming, do you? The inside scoop I got from a distributor friend is that major retailers are expecting at least a 40% price increase on most nuts and seeds by next quarter. The smart move is to buy now, before everyone else catches on. Start with even just a pound each of your favorite nuts and seeds. Store them properly, and you've got months of brain-boosting, heart-protecting nutrition ready when you need it most. I personally keep rotating supplies of almonds, walnuts, pumpkin seeds, and sunflower seeds, the 4 horsemen of nutritional insurance, as I call them. My family thought I was crazy until grocery prices started climbing, and now they're thanking me every time we enjoy these nutritional powerhouses without paying premium prices. Number 7. Freeze-dried fruits and vegetables. Now let's dive into something that might be a game changer for you: freeze-dried fruits and vegetables. Listen to this. While fresh produce prices have shot up 37% since last year, a crisis is quietly brewing that most people aren't talking about. According to the latest USDA report, extreme weather events destroyed over 20% of California's crops last season alone. That's thousands of acres of your favorite fruits and veggies gone. But here's where freeze-dried options become your secret weapon. Cornell University researchers recently published a study that blew my mind. Freeze-dried fruits actually retain up to 97% of their nutritional value. That's higher than canned, and sometimes even better than frozen. I was skeptical too until I tried them myself. The taste? Surprisingly good. My kids actually prefer freeze-dried strawberries over fresh ones now. They're like nature's candy with this amazing concentrated flavor burst. The freeze-dried food industry exploded with 31% growth last year, and it's not just preppers buying anymore. Mainstream consumers are catching on fast. I talked to a supplier last week who told me something alarming. They've had to limit purchases to 2 containers per customer because demand is so intense. Their warehouses are emptying faster than they can restock them. Let me share something personal. Last winter, when those massive storms hit the Midwest and produced shipments couldn't get through, my neighbor was paying almost $8 for a single bell pepper. Meanwhile, I was rehydrating my freeze-dried veggies for pennies on the dollar. The look on her face when I showed her my stash was priceless. She's now converted too. What makes these products absolutely brilliant for stockpiling is how lightweight and space-efficient they are. A single 1-gallon container can hold the equivalent of about 10 pounds of fresh produce, but weighs just a fraction of that. You could literally store enough fruits and vegetables for months in a single cabinet. And the shelf life? We're talking 25, 30 years when properly stored. That's not just me saying this. NASA uses the same technology for astronaut food. Using them couldn't be easier. No washing, no chopping, no prep at all. Just toss freeze-dried blueberries into your morning oatmeal, add bell peppers to your eggs, or blend strawberries into smoothies. They rehydrate almost instantly in liquid, or you can enjoy them crunchy right out of the container. One busy mom told me she keeps freeze-dried vegetables in her car for when she's stuck in traffic with hungry kids. Genius. Here's the trend you absolutely need to know. Major suppliers like Mountain House and Augustin Farms have been struggling with production backlogs since January. Wait times have stretched to 6 weeks for popular items, and with global supply chain issues affecting specialized packaging materials, industry insiders warn this situation could get worse before it gets better. My advice? Don't sleep on this one. Grab some freeze-dried fruits and vegetables now while you still can. Focus on nutrient-dense powerhouses like berries, spinach, and broccoli to get the most nutritional bang for your buck. Your future self will thank you, I promise. Number 8. Salt and spices. You might think of salt and spices as nothing more than flavor boosters, but let me tell you, these tiny pantry staples could become your biggest asset when things go sideways. Let's start with salt. It's not just for seasoning your fries. Salt is one of the oldest and most powerful food preservatives in human history. Long before refrigerators, salt was how people survived winters, wars, and famine. It draws out moisture, inhibits bacteria, and extends the life of meats, fish, and even vegetables. And guess what? It never expires. That's right. Pure salt has an indefinite shelf life. You can bury a bag in your basement for 10 years, and it'll still be useful when you dig it up. Now here's the twist. In the US, the cost of salt has quietly climbed to $230 per ton in 2024, the highest it's been in years. Sure, we're not buying it by the ton, but everything downstream gets affected, especially food manufacturers who rely on salt to preserve bulk goods. So while salt still seems cheap today, it's one of those things that can triple in price without warning, especially if supply chains tighten or we face another natural disaster that impacts mining or transportation. And don't overlook your spice rack. Those dusty jars of oregano and cumin, they're more valuable than you think. Spices have real medicinal and antibacterial properties. Cloves and cinnamon, for example, have been shown in recent studies to kill harmful bacteria like E. coli and Listeria. That means your spice cabinet is doing double duty, enhancing flavor and protecting your food. The global spice market is booming, projected to hit over $53 billion by 2034. But that growth comes at a cost. Droughts in spice-producing regions like India and Madagascar, combined with rising shipping costs, are making everyday spices more expensive. Paprika, turmeric, and black pepper have already seen price jumps in several markets. And here's the kicker. Spices don't just vanish, they get shrunk, cut, or diluted. Your favorite 3-ounce jar becomes 2.2 ounces with no warning. So even if the price looks the same, you're getting less. Stocking up now, while selection and pricing are still in your control, isn't just smart. It's a tactical move for anyone thinking ahead. Get yourself a few pounds of kosher salt. Buy bulk bags of your most used spices. Vacuum seal them or store them in airtight jars, and you've just added years of flavor, function, and resilience to your prep. Don't wait until you're eating bland rice in a blackout, wishing you had one more pinch of garlic powder. The time to prepare is now, while the shelves are full and the prices are still reasonable. Listen, I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to help you prepare. These 8 food items we've covered today aren't just random picks. They're strategic choices based on what's actually happening in our food supply chains right now. Start small if you need to. Grab an extra bag of rice, a few cans of beans, or some spices during your next grocery run. Build your stockpile gradually, and within a few months, you'll have a solid safety net against rising prices and potential shortages. Remember, this isn't about panic buying. It's about smart preparation. Take action now, while these items are still available and affordable. Your future self will thank you. If you found this information valuable, hit that like button and subscribe for more practical preparation tips. Drop a comment letting me know which item you'll be stocking up on first. Stay prepared, stay positive, and I'll see you in the next video.